Welcome to eShiksha Assam. For more videos, like, share and subscribe.
Hello my dear students, this is Prarthana. I hope all of you are fine. I think you all have watched my previous video on biology, that is transportation of blood, flow of blood through the heart, heartbeat and all these. If you have not gone through it, once you go through it, because these things are actually interrelated, okay? The things that we are going to discuss today and those things are interrelated, so it is better to have a clear concept of all the things, alright? Okay, suppose if lot of pimples comes on your face, okay, then and you go to a skin specialist. So what is that a skin specialist recommends it to you? No doubt he will give you medicines or he will give some kind of ointment to put on your face. But above that, he will recommend you to drink a lot of water. Can you tell me why? Why it is necessary to drink a lot of water to reduce pimples or to make the skin glow? Okay. Secondly, I think so you all have heard about the kidney stones. Now, most of the people nowadays, they suffer from kidney stones. So, with what actually it is made and how does it happen? Do you know about that? Okay. We'll learn about all these things in today's chapter. So, let's start. Due to various kinds of metabolic activities going on inside our body, so various waste materials or byproducts are produced in our body, and those byproducts or waste materials are harmful for our body, and those things it is required to be taken out of our body. Okay, so those things are generally called as the nitrogenous waste, and nitrogenous waste could be your ammonia, urea or uric acid and so on, and those things are harmful for our body, so it has to be taken out. Now, in case of unicellular organism, this process of eliminating the excretory materials or the process of eliminating the unwanted or harmful substances from the body occurs with the help of the process of diffusion, because it has only a single cell and those things it can directly diffuse out of their body, alright. But in case of multicellular organisms, so a proper excretory system is essential for the proper removal of the unwanted or poisonous or harmful substances from our body. Okay, so in today's chapter we will learn about how and where are these nitrogenous waste cleansed and then taken out of our body. All right, so this is the longitudinal section of the kidneys. Okay, now what is the meaning of longitudinal section? Suppose this is the duster. Longitudinal section means what? I have to cut this one in this way. All right, and transverse section means if I cut this thing like this, it is called as a transverse section. Okay, so this is the longitudinal section of the kidney. So the kidney mainly comprises of two layers. This outer part is called as the renal cortex and the inside this part is called as the renal medulla. Alright, and it has a fibrous tissue covering which is called as the renal capsule. Okay, this is the renal capsule. Alright, so here it is composed of a number of things, and then here if you see, so this is the renal artery and renal vein. So about the arteries and veins, why their colors are blue and red, it has been already discussed. If you are having any doubt regarding that, you can just go to the previous video of transportation of blood. You can just find the link at the I button there. Alright. Now, so okay. Well, what is this? Can you see something? This yellow colors, a tube-like thing, can you see there? So this is the main structural and functional unit of kidney, which are called as nephrons, and these nephrons are the main or the basic filtration units of the kidneys. This is the excretory system in human beings. So what are the different parts of it and where it is located? These organs are mainly located at this part of your body, right? So it comprises of a pair of kidneys. These are a pair of kidneys, a pair of ureters. These two are two tubes called as ureters, and a urinary bladder. Okay. So what is the function of the kidney? The main function of the kidney is to purify the blood. Alright. So while making tea, I think so all of you know how to make tea, or you might have seen your parents preparing tea. So what do we do? While the tea is prepared, we take a sieve and then we pour the tea, so that through the sieve only the liquid part of the tea goes and falls down, but the other parts, it remains on top. All right. Similarly, these pair of kidneys, it acts as filters. Okay. These two kidneys are the filters of blood. So that is, our blood is filtered in the kidneys. Okay. So how it is filtered in the kidney, we will learn in the next part. Now just see here. So these are a pair of kidneys. All right. And these blood enters these two kidneys and then it is filtered. Then all the waste material, whatever is produced or which is separated in the kidney, so those waste materials comes down through these tubes. All right. These two tubes are called as the ureters. And what is that waste material actually? Those waste materials along with the water is called as the urine. All right. Since urine is harmful, urine contains all the unnecessary things which are harmful for our body. So those things are needed to be flushed out of our body. All right. So after filtering the blood, these two pair of kidneys, they filter the blood, and then those waste materials along with water, which is called as urine, it comes down along this pipe called as ureters, and then it is stored in this bladder called as urinary bladder. And when this urinary bladder is full, so we have the urge to release the bladder, then the urine is released through the urethra. So this is called as the urethra. Okay, this is the urinary bladder. This is about the aorta and vena cava. We had learned about them in my previous video of transportation in human being circulatory system. So you can just go through it. Okay, so there we have seen vena cava is what? Vena cava are those blood vessels which carries the deoxygenated blood, that is carbon dioxide rich blood. So the color of the blood flowing through the vena cava veins or venules are bluish, okay, bluish green like this. And the blood flowing through the aorta, arteries and all, arterioles, so there oxygen rich blood or oxygenated blood is oxygenated blood flows through it. That is why the color of the blood is red in color. So about that in detail I had explained in that video. So you can just click on the I button there and then you can find the video. So once you go through it, the things will be clear to you. Okay. Now, so this is blue in color. So this is the what? This is your vena cava and this is red in color. So this is the aorta. So the blood actually passes through these. All right. So here most of you might have a confusion. No? So you are looking at the board in this way and then you will feel that this is the right part. So this should be the right kidney and this should be the left kidney. But Mrs. writing there, this one to be left and this is as right. Why? So I have already told you. So the diagrams of biology, whenever you see, so if I see the book in this way, then I will feel that if I look at the board in this way, I feel that this is my right, so this is the right kidney and this is my left, so this is the left kidney, but it is not. Always you have to place the diagrams of biology in front of you, alright? This is my right hand, so this is the right part, that is, all these are what? Right kidney, right ureter, alright? And this is my left, so this is the left kidney, left ureter and so on, okay? So now let's see in details what happens actually. So the yellow color tube-like structure that you had seen in the previous diagram is this. This is the enlarged image of that yellow color thing, which is the nephron, alright? So this nephron has several parts. So the first part, it is a coiled tube-like structure, which is the structural and functional unit of life. So it is the basic filtration unit of the kidneys, alright? Now, this part is a cup-shaped structure called as the Bowman's capsule, right? This Bowman's capsule, it comes down and there is a coiled tube-like structure and this is called as PCT or proximal convoluted tubule. Okay. Next comes a U-like tube and this U-like tube is called as loop of Henle. Alright. Next, after this loop of Henle, this particular tube is called as DCT or distal convoluted tubule. Alright. And this distal convoluted tubule, it goes and then meets the collecting tubule, and this collecting tubule, it goes and then meets the collecting duct. Okay, so many collecting tubules of different nephrons, they pour their secretions into the collecting duct, and from the collecting duct, the urine which is actually produced, that urine is sent through the ureters into the urinary bladder. So now let's discuss about the functions of this nephron. Now let's discuss about the functions of the nephron. So nephron performs mainly three basic functions. First is the glomerular filtration, second tubular reabsorption, third tubular secretion. Okay, first is what? Glomerular filtration, second tubular reabsorption, and third is tubular secretion. So what is this actually? So here can you see some a meshwork like things? So these are actually the blood capillaries, all right. This is called as the efferent artery and this is called as the efferent artery. So blood actually flows through these efferent artery and then it flows into the glomerulus. These meshwork like capillaries, means capillaries at this portion forms a meshwork like structure. So that is called as glomerulus, all right. So there are certain small pores there, and through the pores most of the substances come out into the it comes out into the Bowman's capsule, all right. So what happens actually here? So now blood cells and the proteins present in the blood are too big to pass through these pores. So other substances like glucose, amino acids, vitamins, salts, hydrogen ion, bicarbonate ion, so all these things it passes into the Bowman's capsule, all right. Then after coming inside the Bowman's capsule, from here it goes to the proximal convoluted tubule. So at this part what happens? At this part only, this part is called as the glomerular filtration. That is the first function of the nephron, all right. At this portion it is called as tubular reabsorption. Why it is called as tubular reabsorption? So one thing to be noted here, through these pores, what are the things that came down? Glucose, amino acids, vitamins, H+ ions, bicarbonate ions, uric acid and such kind of ammonia. So all these kinds of nitrogenous waste also has come out from these pores present in the glomerulus into the Bowman's capsule, all right. Now only those things which are harmful for our body like the urea, uric acid, ammonia, all these things are needed to be taken out of our body, all right. But other things like glucose, amino acids, vitamins, all these things are essential for us, right. So all these things has to be reabsorbed, and that reabsorption takes place in the proximal convoluted tubule part. Okay, this is PCT, means proximal convoluted tubule. So at this part you can see, these capillaries, they form a network like thing. So what happens? These capillaries also have tiny pores. They are actually about permeability. I think so you all have learned. So actually in these capillaries there are minute pores, all right. So through these pores only all these glucose, vitamins, amino acids, all the essential things, they go out from this proximal convoluted tubule back to the blood, all right. That is why he said that in proximal convoluted tubule reabsorption, so reabsorption takes place, all right. The three functions of the nephron is glomerular filtration, tubular reabsorption and tubular secretion. So glomerular filtration takes place in this area, okay. Next is tubular reabsorption, that is reabsorption of the essential things takes place in the proximal convoluted tubule, all right. Next, what happens when that along with water, when all those substances enters the loop of Henle? This is called as the loop of Henle, okay. At this point, this is the descending part of the loop of Henle, this is the ascending part, all right. This descending part of loop of Henle is permeable to water but impermeable to salts or other substances. Permeable to water means excess, here at this portion, this water and all is permeable, that is water can come out of it, all right. But salts and other things cannot come out through this descending part of the loop of Henle, okay. That is why it is said that this part is permeable to water but impermeable to salts and other substances, okay. And this part, at this point, this ascending limb of loop of Henle, it becomes impermeable to water but permeable to salts. So salts like sodium chloride and all, whatever is essential for us, it can go out, pass out of this loop of Henle, ascending part of the loop of Henle. Alright, then that urine actually which is formed, that filtrate what is left is called as the urine. Okay, so here all the essential things were reabsorbed. Here water was also water up to some extent was reabsorbed. Then this filtrate or the urine, that urine actually it goes to the distal convoluted tubule. So what happens here? Okay, before that let me tell you. So the urine then enters the distal convoluted tubule. Then from here it goes to the collecting tubule. All right. Then the urine from the collecting tubule it goes to the collecting duct, and from the collecting duct it goes out of the kidneys through the ureters. It goes into the urinary bladder, and where the urinary bladder is full, so that urine is released, and that process of releasing urine is called as micturition. All right. Okay. Have you noticed any changes in your urine in a day when you drank plenty of water, and in some other day when you didn't get enough water to drink? Our body is constituted with around 70% of water, right? And so sufficient amount of water must be present inside our bodies for the proper functioning of our different metabolic activities. All right. Now here we see, so where the urine comes to this part that is called as the distal convoluted tubule. Suppose if the water intake of a person in a particular day is very less, then a hormone called as ADH is secreted here. Okay, ADH, it is called as antidiuretic hormone. It is also called as vasopressin. So what happens? So if the water content in your body is less, then this ADH hormone is secreted. Because of that, what happens? It is secreted by the pituitary gland. So about that in another class when we will be discussing about the endocrine gland. So I will let you know about that. Okay. Now, so this antidiuretic hormone or vasopressin is released, and due to this, water is reabsorbed from this distal convoluted tubule. All right. So in this part of the tubular secretion, that is the third function takes place, and if the water content in the body is less, then ADH hormone is secreted. As a result of that, water is reabsorbed from that. And because of that, since the water is reabsorbed, so the urine that is formed is a concentrated urine. Alright. So concentrated urine means, so concentrated and dilute, all of you know it, no? So suppose if I take 2 glasses of water, in one glass if I put 5 spoons of sugar, and in the other glass if I put 1 spoon of sugar, so this one will be more concentrated. Okay. The concentration of this glass will be more. Why? Because here amount of the solute, that is sugar, is more. All right. Okay. So here if you see, similarly, if the water is reabsorbed at this point, if the water intake in a body is less, then the urine that is formed is concentrated. All right. That means since the amount of water inside a body is less, so more and more amount of water will not be eliminated from our body. So because of that, ADH hormone, antidiuretic hormone, or vasopressin acts. Alright. On the other hand, when we drink plenty of water, so we have the urge to go to urine very soon, and that is of course good because you're drinking a lot of water. And then what happens if you drink more and more amount of water? So here you have seen the formation of urine starts from this, when the blood flows into the glomerulus. From here all the waste materials, nitrogenous waste, enters this nephron, and then it goes out of the body. Alright. I think so you might have heard about persons suffering from kidney stones. Okay, with what are these stones made up of? So kidney stones are mainly formed of calcium oxalate or calcium phosphate or uric acid. All these things, they form a crystalline structure, and then they are termed as stones. Alright. Those stones can either be removed from the body with the help of ultrasound when the stones are broken into pieces and then it flows out, it is flushed out with urine, or some other means of course there, or it can also be operated and taken out. Okay. Now, when some substances are present in the urine which triggers the formation of crystal of all these compounds. Alright. Moreover, if the urine lacks the substances which prevent the formation of crystalline structure, then also kidney stone may occur. So what happens when we drink more amount of water? So when we drink more amount of water, then generally some things like uric acid and other things, so more and more amount of all these things will be flushed out of our body. So as a result of which, these formation of kidney stones will not be very easy, because every time we drink more and more amount of water, so the blood is filtered again and again, and due to that, more and more amount of nitrogenous waste like uric acid or other substances, it can pass out along with the urine. Okay. Next, why does the doctor advise us or recommends us to drink a lot of water? So if we drink a lot of water, so it keeps our skin hydrated and moist, and this prevents the formation of, okay, before that, do you know how are actually acne or pimples formed? So our skin has certain glands called as sweat glands and sebaceous glands. Sebaceous glands is certain type of glands which contains, which secretes oil. Okay, so when that oil is secreted in our skin, and then those oil in combination with the bacteria, some type of bacteria and all at the follicles of the hair or at the small tiny pores of our skin, so in those pores may get blocked because of bacteria or mixed with the oil. So that actually gives rise to the formation of pimples or acne. So if we drink more and more amount of water, so our skin remains hydrated and also moist. So this, and also dry skin triggers secretion of more amount of oil from the sebaceous glands. So if we drink more and more amount of water, so our skin will not be very dry, so sebaceous gland will not secrete much amount of oil. Okay. So what happens when the kidneys are damaged? If one kidney is damaged, then the functions can be easily carried out by the other kidney, and if both the kidneys are damaged, then artificial kidney or dialysis has to be used in order to purify the blood of the patient. Okay, so that process is called as hemodialysis, and there artificial kidney is actually used. So what is that? We will see now. Okay, so here if we see, so a dialyzing fluid is used. Now what is a dialyzing fluid? So it is a fluid which has similar osmotic pressure as that of blood. Now what is the meaning of osmotic pressure? That means osmosis, we know, no? The process of movement of water from a region of higher concentration of water to a region of lower concentration of water through a semi-permeable membrane is called as osmosis. Now, osmotic pressure is what? So the amount of pressure applied to restrict the flow of the liquid or the water through the semi-permeable membrane is called as the osmotic pressure. Okay, so the osmotic pressure of the dialyzing fluid in the blood is same, except that in case of the dialyzing fluid, the nitrogenous waste are not present. Then, so with the help of from the artery, a tube is connected, and from that the blood is taken out of that patient. Okay, and that blood, it goes and then enters into some kind of tubes, and those tubes lie embedded within the dialyzing fluid. Okay, and those tubes are made up of selectively permeable membrane. That means only some selected materials are allowed to come out of those tubes. All right, so blood flows through those tubes, and while flowing through those tubes, the nitrogenous waste and all these things, it goes into the dialyzing fluid. So as a result of which, the blood is cleansed and all the nitrogenous waste goes into the dialyzing fluid, and then that pure blood, it goes back into the person through the vein. Okay, so this is called as the artificial kidney or hemodialysis. With this, we have come to an end of today's class. So I hope you all have understood whatever we have discussed today in the class. If you have any doubt regarding any topic, you can just leave your doubts in the comment section below. I will try to solve that. And if you have understood the chapter, then please hit the like button so that I know that you all have understood. And to get the notifications of the different classes of different subjects in our channel, you can subscribe to our channel. Thank you.